You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We want to chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender,
welcome back.
Todd Halterman is in the house. Welcome, my buddy.
Hey, glad to be here, man. It's always fun to be on the radio with you in the morning.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Some days are better than others. So I don't get to do this one ever. So National Stay Home Because You're Well Day. No, why would we do that? I don't know. I guess I love what I do too much. Cyber Security Day. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna ever get there. Mason Jar Day. Now I can go with the mason jar depending. Now, sometimes a mason jar is filled with cookies. Okay, I like that. Maybe the mason jar is filled with candy. I like that. Sometimes the mason jar is filled with a margarita. That would be even better. You know, maybe a martini. I don't know about a mason jar with a martini. That might be a little too much. I don't know. But, you know, one thing I think we can all agree on. How about National Moose Day? Yeah, look at that one. National Moose Day is today. So what's your favorite flavor? I personally, I go with chocolate. I'm glad that the team knew that ahead of time. They put that. Josh, I'm glad you got chocolate mousse in there and not some other one of those fancy things. So that looks good. The only thing we're missing is a little bit of whipped cream right here along the top. That would be nice. But I better move along because otherwise I can't salivate on this all day long. It just get me in trouble. Hey, let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. Yeah, that might not be a pretty sight. So we're looking, the Dow Jones is now down 636 points. The NASDAQ is down almost 300 points. The NASDAQ's been bouncing around a lot. And we're looking at oil down $4.10 a barrel, $4.10 a barrel. I'm not going to look at gas prices today because it just gets me ill every time I do that. But I am going to look and share with you some information on rates on the 10-year Treasury. So it's been bouncing around a lot also. So right now we're looking at the 10-year Treasury down 5 basis points. It was down 10 basis points earlier in the day, maybe a little more than that. Went back to down 2. Now it's down 5. Why? And I'm going to share with you several issues that are going on in the markets right now. But I'm going to share with you something else that I'm going to tell you this. I've told anytime we see the markets moving like that. First off, 600 points in the market is not what it used to be. So 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when I was at Merrill Lynch, 600 points in the market, everybody's hair would be on fire. If you remember 1987, I think it was 87. Todd will probably know that date better than me. But I think it's called Black Monday, Black Friday in 1987. It was October when the market took a huge drop, right? And people are wondering, okay, the market took a big drop that day, and everybody was, it was like the world was coming to an end. There was major changes in the markets. And the issue then was basically that the markets took a big drop, but the Dow was at a much, much lower level than it is today, right? So now when we look at 500 points then, it was Black Monday, I think is what it was. And October 19th, I got the year right, October 19th, 1987, Black Monday, right? And the markets took this huge drop back then. And you look at it as a percentage, the market was down 508 points. But that was 22.6% of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 22.6%. So we look today and we say, okay, the Dow is down. Yeah, I get it. But it's not down anywhere close to 22%. That's the big issue. So right now we're down 600. Well, this is an interesting number as I'm looking at my screen right now. 666 points and 666.66 points. I don't think you'd do that one if you tried, right? But it's down 1.9%, a far cry from 22% down. Now, I've shared with you many, many times, again, Todd, if you think I'm wrong, tell me. Markets always overreact, right? So, you hear about this virus that's going around now. Okay, we got I don't know if it's should we call him Dr. Fauci anymore? Because I think he's Celebrity Fauci, right? He's out there on every TV show and all that kind of stuff, and he's on Vogue magazine. I don't know too many doctors that we want to have on Vogue magazine, but he says he's the face of science. Well, maybe if I thought about that one, maybe the donkey of science. That's just my opinion, right? But here's what we hear from this newest variant, Omicron, coming out of Africa. The doctor over there said it's not nearly as debilitating as some of the other variants. Then you talk to another doctor and they say every strain of the virus that comes out, every new strain that comes out is less debilitating than the last one. But the markets overreact. The markets always overreact because then you have the president coming out and saying he's going to make a statement. Well, when the president of the United States comes out and makes a statement, it's usually something significant. Not saying that that's always the case, but usually a presidential conversation is significant. This president's a bit unique, so maybe that wasn't quite the case that he came out yesterday. Wear a mask if you're inside. Why? Right, go get vaccinated. That might be good for you. That's everyone's personal opinion. Yes, I did get vaccinated. I have talked to some doctors, and they are recommending some doctors that actually treat patients, and they're saying get vaccinated, right? People that I respect highly. One's seen, I think, over 1,000 COVID patients because he is an infectious disease doctor. So the markets overreact. Then we get Jerome Powell goes before Congress and says that the inflation is worse than expected. Well, if you've been listening to Ron Siegel radio, I don't usually agree with Jerome Powell. And I've shared with you right along, inflation is not going away anytime soon, right? You don't take away things. I mean, you just look and supply chain, not good. You got the president doing everything he can to kill the oil industry, prices in oil going up. All of these things are going on. So we've got this happening as well. So be aware that when Powell said that, and then he says, well, maybe we have to start increasing rates sooner than later, sooner than they anticipated. That's what's driving the market right now. And again, the markets overreact. I'm going to tell you, because we're going to change up our format a little bit today, that earlier today, the mortgage-backed securities were up 25 basis points. They're down 6 basis points right now. Massive move in mortgage-backed securities. Again, 10-year Treasury was down 10. Now it's down 6 on the yield. These are big moves. They don't happen just for no reason, but they do overreact in many, many cases. So I just want to share that with you. If you want more information, we'll talk about that more in the days to come, because we've got a lot of great information we're going to talk about with Todd Halterman today. We're going to do a couple workshops with Todd today. We don't always get to do workshops. A lot of times Todd and I just chat and we let you eavesdrop. But we're going to do a couple workshops. We're going to talk about a situation where one family, they might have been able to get out of a lot of debt by listening to some of the things that we talk about with Todd Halterman. So we're going to talk about Joe. He's 50 years old. So Joe's going to be our subject matter today. And then we're going to talk about another situation that you may fall into. Well, how about this one where we've got Mary and John? I don't even know who Mary and John are, but maybe Todd will help us with that. They've got a business to sell, and they want to plan in advance to disinherit the IRS. I love that tagline that Todd uses. We're going to get into both of those case studies when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So if you're a regular listener to Ron Siegel Radio, we generally will give you a mortgage minute at this time. But I want to do some workshops where we have limited time with our friend Todd Halterman. And he comes on and gives us some great information all the time. And at this time of year, a lot of folks are out there, they're spending money, and in about 35 days, they get this massive hangover. No, it's not from alcohol. That's a different hangover. But they get this spending hangover, and they say, you know something? I spent a lot of money during the holidays. Now what am I going to do? Well, we're going to give you information right now. You can get started with your thought process. Talk it over with your friends, family, coworkers. Get the information direct from us. But Todd Halterman, welcome, buddy. I'm glad you're with us.
Oh, man. Good morning. It's great to be here. Your show is always enlightening. I love to hear your truths. You keep people straight, and it's nice to hear.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So let's get into it. We've got a workshop this morning, and we're going to talk about how we can actually get rid of family debt. So let's just go and take a look. We've got some slides here. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you can actually see some slides that we've got going here. And it's business solutions is our subject today. So let's get the next slide there, and we'll give it a whirl here. So we got Joe. I'm going to give you the foundation, and Todd's going to tell us some solutions. So we got Joe, 50-year-old small business owner, does well on a day-to-day basis, but is usually hindered by one of the following problems. Maybe you're hindered with these too: debt, cash flow, taxes, flexibility. I'm always hindered by flexibility. But let's move on to the next one. Let's see if we got a layout of what his debts are. This is pretty basic debts. I mean, he's got equipment debt, 5% interest, car, 3.5% car loan. Let's see. He's got more equipment for 5.5%. He's got a truck at 5.25%. Construction loan, 4.5%. Line of credit, a good rate on that line of credit, 5.99. Primary residence, 4%. So looking at this total 4.82 debt, $2,135,900, and his payments every month. Oof, God, this is painful. $26,286 a month. That's think about that. So every day when Joe gets up, he has to make $26,286 for that month just to stay above water. Right? That's he doesn't get to eat. He does have a roof over his head. He doesn't get to put any gas in his car. He doesn't go to any restaurants on this. These are what we call fixed expenses, debt service. So maybe you've got a solution here, Todd.
You bet. So with this debt solution, the situation is most Americans, especially those that have gone through the Dave Ramsey program, they've learned that getting out of debt is the key to building sustainable wealth. It's one thing to build your life and build a business. It's another thing to help reconcile debt. So in a traditional setting, Joe's business will be in debt for about 27 to 28 more years. I'm paying over $650,000 in overall interest. So that $26,000 is going to debt every month, isn't effectively being placed. And what we're doing is we're showing people how to shorten that life cycle of 27.8 years to below 10 years without having them spending any more money than they spend right now. The nice thing is telling people they don't have to spend any more money than they do right now, and they can reapportion how they paid their bills to get out of debt in less than 10 years. They'll sit forward and they usually listen and ask how.
So look at that number, though, $650,000. So if you're a 35 or 40-year-old, $650,000. Now, you're going to still have some interest, I'm assuming. We're going to hear that from Todd. But if you could take any portion of $650,000.
Well, and remember, Joe's 50. So 27.8 years from now, Joe is almost 80.
80 years old. Looking at it, yeah, you're right.
So this is causing Joe some concern about his retirement outlook too. It causes some confusion and some stress.
And if Joe's family household is anything like mine, not only is Joe looking at stress, he's getting stress from Mama too, because Mama's not too happy about not getting to get into that retirement world that they want to. So let's see if we've got some solutions here. We got to find solutions, Todd.
Well, first thing that the small business owner wants to do is they want to increase their cash flow. Yes, they want to eliminate debt, but my experience shows that business owners want to increase cash flow because that's their golden goose at this point. If they can create flexibility with their planning, this is real planning, Ron, then that can help potentially decrease taxes and, of course, eliminate those debts. But the challenge is whenever you focus on getting out of debt, it usually hurts your cash flow painfully. It makes you less flexible. And then because you're using more money to pay off debts, it creates phantom income. And sometimes that increases taxes. So we have to create a tax efficient way for people to organize their finances and pay their bills monthly that makes sense to an actuary, a mathematical scientist, much like people go to a CPA to get a tax return done. If they want to get out of debt, they should ask an actuary, how should they reapportion their finances for their cash flow to get out of debt quicker and to not spend more than they're spending right now?
And an actuary is the same type of person that deals with life insurance companies, right? So they figure out how they can charge you whatever, $100 a month, but give you $1 million life insurance policy and not go out of business.
Yeah, actuaries are doctors in science of math, and what they're able to do is to calculate the best use of money, or obviously actuarially figure out mortality tables versus cash values. They do more than life insurance, but they are the numbers crunchers extraordinaire. Just like an economist evaluates economies, actuaries evaluate cash flow analysis and monies and time value of monies.
Okay, so let's see what do we have next there. Let's get to the next one.
So what we want to do is we want to help these people get from the current debt payoff from 27.8 years. And if they follow the program that we laid out for them, Joe and his wife simply filled out some reports with us and did an intake analysis. And then we worked with our team of actuaries to analyze how they can actually apportion their cash differently, but not spend more than they're spending right now. And in this case, we could save them over $270,000 in interest and get them out of debt in less than 7 years at this point. So if we can get him out of debt in 7 years, Joe is 57 and he's freed up over $26,000 a month in cash flow. Okay. That's $300,000 extra every year in 7 years that they can improve their life and give them a heck of a lot more confidence on how to get retired someday.
You got to back up here, Todd. So we're going to get out of debt in 6.4 years from 27.8 and save over $250,000 in interest. And this is from an actuary.
Yes, sir. Here's the best part, Ron. We can actually tell people it's guaranteed. If they follow the system, it's guaranteed.
Wow. And we don't usually talk about too much that's guaranteed in this world, but you look at some of these things and you say, it almost seems like it's got to be too good to be true. But hey, something, you mentioned the form, but before we went live today, we did create a little bit of a brief form, a real short form for you. So go to rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com. We'll have Josh put that up on the screen for you, rsrnodebt.com. It's a real brief form to get you started, and then we'll put you in touch with Todd's team to see if it makes sense for you. What else do we have here? Let's go to the next slide and see what.
The nice thing is when we talked to Joe and his wife, they were like up front, how much is it going to cost us to figure this out? And here's the good news. We don't charge to do an analysis. We don't charge to give out reports. We only ask people to sit down with us to figure out how much that could benefit them, if it can benefit them at all. And then when it works, we talk about how our team is compensated through that process. But we are paid to do this for people, but only when it works.
Okay, so there's really no risk involved in going and doing that form that we just put up on the screen, or getting that initial consultation.
Yeah, the analysis is an exercise to help them discover that there may be a different way for them to tackle their monthly cash flow and bills. And we have an actuarial scientist that looks at it and helps them realign how they're doing it, much like a CPA helps people realign how they do tax returns.
Okay, so let's looks like we got a little bit of a recap here, putting this into perspective.
Yep.
So go ahead.
In essence, they could be debt-free and have over $10 million in liquidity in 28 years following this plan, as opposed to paying the $650,000 of extra interest and being 77 years of age before they're debt-free and hopefully retired.
God, there's like a no-brainer, Todd. I mean, what if I don't own a business? Will these same philosophies or programs help me if I'm not a business owner, or is this just for business owners?
No, it's for all Americans. We just have noticed that small business owners are really that catalyst to economic growth and hiring people. And we believe that as an organization and firm, the more business owners I can help get more financially confident, the more they can pay their employees, the more they can hire people, and the more we can help expand this economy and give better confidence to Americans again with their finances. So we just choose to focus on small business owners to give an example, but this works for individual families alike.
That's awesome. Let's look at some of all the benefits of this whole program then, Todd.
Well, the reality is I'm going to focus on one. Increase your confidence in how you're going to live someday when you're retired. If all we did was work on building your own little private bank to get out of debt, imagine being able to have the tax savings. Imagine the increased cash flow, liquidity. The succession planning is simple. It's making sure you have enough money to help the business get sold or handed over to the next manager or person that's going to buy it. The part of our family bank that's nice is that once the debts are paid off, the bank that we create still accumulates cash. So it doesn't stop there. There are literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars available at retirement because we help Americans create their own little family bank that they use with tax incentives to be able to back their life and get out of debt, and then of course pay for some tax-free income when they do retire.
And we're big fans of tax-free anything. So let's you gotta love that tax-free idea. Okay, so what do we do next?
So if you think about it, what we've got to do is identify people's personal needs. If you're somebody that has a business or doesn't have a business, but you've got mortgage debt, you've got student loan debt, you've got credit card debt, you have automobile debt, you have credit card debt, you are the person that I love helping. This situation is paramount for Americans to pay attention to, so we can help you figure out if you can qualify to build your own family bank or not, and how that works if you qualify. But it only works if you go out to the RSR website, fill out that quick questionnaire, and spend 10 minutes with a pro on our team, just 10 minutes to talk about your situation to make sure this is a good approach for you and worth your time if you qualify.
So there we go. It's rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com. That's the site just to see if it works for you. I don't know if it's going to or not, but I will tell you, we do have a family that it did work for. And I kind of set up a little bit of a demo so you can get an idea how. Now, this was not a business. This was just a family that had a bunch of debt, and there's solutions for them. You can actually see that at rsrrapidpayoff.com. rsrrapidpayoff.com. It's just a simple little website that or a dashboard we put together. You can see how it helped one family. I don't know if that's your family or not, but if you're a typical American family, you've got a mortgage, you've got some credit card debt, you've got some auto payments, student loans. It might be worth your time to explore this. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. If you're a business owner, if you are Joe, the business owner, and want some ideas and look at hey, look at Microsoft. Their CEO just sold a bunch of stock today. Jack Dorsey stepped down as the CEO of Twitter. Maybe you want to set up a succession plan for your business. We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So we're going to do another workshop. We're obviously, as you can tell, if you're a regular listener of Ron Siegel Radio, and we appreciate you. If you are, we never take for granted that you have many, many options. But if you're a regular listener, you know that we generally have a format that we follow. But today we're doing things a little bit different because, every once in a while we just get an opportunity comes along for us to share some really great information. We have Todd Halterman with us this morning, PCP Consulting. And he's in the last segment, if you missed it, you missed a ton. He shared with us how Joe could get out of debt instead of his 27.8-year trajectory to under 7 years without spending any extra money. You missed it. But now we're talking, because Joe was a business owner, and Joe's situation, he's a business owner in that segment, but it doesn't only apply to business owners, it applies to anybody. It applies to you maybe. But how about a small business owner? Now they're thinking about succession planning. You own your own business. Maybe you've got a contracting company. Maybe you've got a machine shop, catering company, restaurant, any of the above. And maybe you're got some idea about retiring at some point in the future. So take it away, Todd. Talk about this one. We've got another case study here. And I'm going to let Todd take this one because he's the guru of disinheriting the IRS.
You bet. You know, around the country, real estate values are way up. Business values are way up. It's interesting to see what's happening where a lot of people are positioning themselves to sell real estate or to sell their businesses or highly appreciated assets. Some folks just have stocks who've gone up so much they don't know where to start on how to take those down without getting their head ripped off in taxes, especially Californians that they end up in the 53% tax rate at some point when they have a large capital gain that they've got to realize. So,
well, look at that, Todd, because just to interrupt you real quick, look what happened just today. When you don't think that policies and laws and things affect people, and I don't know the exact issue, but the CEO of Microsoft sold half of his Microsoft holdings, was announced today. And the speculation is that January 1st, there is a 7% capital gain tax going into effect in the state of Washington. I don't know what state the CEO lives in. Microsoft is based out of Washington. Do you think that had some effect on his decision making? He probably can afford to pay a lot of really good, smart people to advise him on when to sell. So go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the case, and that's not unique today in many states. So for business owners who've taken all the risk, real estate buyers and investors who've taken all that risk and over time been able to benefit from having that risk, now they're going to give 1/3 to 1/2 of those profits back to the governments to support this fiscal policies that they obviously believe in, which aren't sound. They're debt strategies, and these taxes are going to help bail them out. Taxes are voluntary, Ron. So if they're voluntary, there's got to be a way for people to do it better. And that's what the Alpha 3 Tax Guard process is. Our process is designed to help people not pay taxes at closing when they sell their business or real estate. This process is designed to help people not pay capital gains or ordinary income tax when they close on their property or business. How many Americans would like to not pay taxes at closing when they sell, Ron?
That's only the rich and famous. I mean, we hear about Donald Trump not paying any taxes, and we hear about Elon Musk. He tweeted out the other day about that, you know, the government's after him because he doesn't pay taxes, supposedly, and he tells us about how many billions he is. But I think, you know, those guys, they pay a lot of great people to give them advice. I don't think they're breaking the law. You tell me, Todd. I mean, I'm sure that they're doing things strictly by the book. They just know what the book says.
Well, and honestly, they take the time to do real planning, and they have planning advisors around them. They have a legal officer, they have a tax officer or two, they have a financial officer, they have a board of directors, they have industry experts. They actually have their board of advisors. And what most American families make the mistake of is they try to be the expert in legal, marketing, tax, in their business and industry, finance. They try to do it all, and you can't be an expert of it all. So they say the rich get richer. The rich get more advice. The rich have advisors that help them make sound decisions. But in this system, the Alpha 3 Tax Guard process, it's to mitigate taxes, defer them, or eliminate them altogether. Now, not everybody qualifies to not pay taxes at closing, but what we do is we enter programs in 3 different ways to help them pay no tax at closing or very little as possible, with over 90-year-old tax laws that have not been used widely across America for many reasons, but we're using them in our tax guard process.
Love that idea. So let's look at this case study. We got an IT consulting firm, and they actually decided to go. They made the decision to sell. So they're a little bit different than what I see in many entrepreneurial companies. They've got a long-term plan, so they know what they want to do. They've come to talk to you 4 years before they are looking to sell their business. And we have business brokers that are part of the Ron Siegel Radio team here as well. But let's take a look at this one. So we've got the 4 years ahead of time. They come and talk to the Alpha 3 Tax Guard team. That doesn't mean they're getting rid of their CPA. They're still consulting with their own CPA.
No, we work directly with their attorneys and their accountants who they've used for years. We don't ever want to disrupt those relationships. We want to complement them with specialists in this area.
So they've got a couple kids, and they're going to tell us about this strategy, Todd. We've got a few minutes here. We've got about 4 minutes to go through it.
This family set up a Nevada-based trust a couple of years prior to them looking at wanting to do a succession plan. And we taught them how they could actually gift part of the shares of their company away to their children to help reduce, obviously, their ownership basis. But that also creates a gift to help shift taxation as they age and, of course, when they pass away. So the first thing we do is we have gifting strategies that simply help families build a family corporate structure early. Don't wait till you're dead for families to build the corporate structure. That's when you'll pay the most tax. So we simply help families build family corporate structure ahead of time to help them manage the tax liabilities and control when they pay those taxes, not be out of control. So, and basically this was done 4 years prior to when they actually sold the business. So these gifts brought down mom and dad's ownership basis. So income was earned on the children's tax rates, and the children shares escaped the California income tax. Well, obviously, because we did this way before the transaction of the sale. So in 2017, Mary and John sold 60% of the business, is what they owned at that point in time, because they had gifted away shares to the children, and they sold it for about $13 a share. So during that time, the children's portion grew to over $7.8 million as the value of this company grew. And that helped the parents, again, reduce and eliminate future taxes, because obviously the kids are at a lower tax basis. So basically, long story short, we saved over $800,000 of capital gains tax in California just from a gifting strategy and building corporate structure for the family business and a succession plan, Ron. So that's the initial piece of this puzzle. So the tax guard process isn't as simple as just setting up a simple trust. There's more in line, and we want to do it the least expensive way possible. And then what happens is when we build these trusts to hold capital, then the family that sells the business can decide when the money comes out of their trust to live on or to redeploy into another business or property. But they decide when they use that capital. They don't have to pay tax on it until they decide to use the capital. So without boring everybody with the last layer, Mary and John sold the remaining 40% of their firm at $21 a share in 2022. We fast forward from 2017. So we stopped over $600,000 of capital gains tax on that transaction, and the children's trust grew by another $5 million. So remember, it was up to $7.8 million. Then when we evaluated their shares 5 years later, now the kids' trust is up to $12.8 million. Remember, mom and dad transferred that over a long time ago. And again, these kids' tax liabilities are being deferred or eliminated because mom and dad weren't afraid of gifting, because they understood how to build the structure and not lose control. So basically, by gifting and the things that they did with the kids, it given them a tax exemption of about $750,000 out of the sale. And it's important to understand that Mary and John will owe tax on some of this capital, but they'll only owe it as they take it out. In some cases, we're able to help families pay 0% tax on their gains because we're able to keep their income below $81,000 adjusted gross married filing jointly. So we have some people selling $1 million properties with $800,000 of gain, and they're pulling it out slowly at a 0% tax, Ron, because we set up a corporate family structure, we followed a plan, and they get to control when they pay the tax.
Wow, it's pretty amazing when you think about these different scenarios, and some of it sounds really, really complex to me, Todd. I know that it's, I've talked to you many, many times about it, but when we come back, I want to throw some questions at you. If you've got questions, throw them in our chat, and I think that you'll find that it's not as complex as you think when you have the right leadership or the right guide. Right? It's like going on a trip. If you're trying to say, okay, I'm going from here to visit my friend Todd up there in Coeur d'Alene, and I get on the freeway, I'm in trouble because I might get on the 5 freeway, I might get on the southbound, I might get on northbound, maybe I'll get on the 91 or the 15 or the 10. I need a guide, right? So I need someone to tell me how to get there, how to accomplish these things. What we really just have shared with you this morning in these segments, and we're going to get into a little more of my questioning Todd when we come back, is there are ways to get out of debt without having to change your lifestyle radically by getting a good guide. There are ways to, defer or eliminate taxes by getting a good guide who can help you with that, who can show you tax strategies, taxes that maybe things that only rich and famous are using, because they're paying that guide. Well, we've got a guide for you. We got a guy for that. So we'll be back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to chat with Todd Halterman. Some more questions about this. Changing our format just a little bit today. You can reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We are chatting this morning. Todd Halterman is with us, PCP Consulting. We got over a lot of information this morning, and if you've missed it, I highly suggest go to ronsiegelradio.com, check out the archives, and we've got the whole program will be posted there this afternoon. But we started off today, and Todd shared with us a case study on how a business owner got out of debt. He was on a 27.8-year path of getting out of debt in under 7 years. So that was a great study there. And we're going to put that into our library of workshops. In the C blocks, Todd told us about a business owner who made the IT consulting firm, decided to get out of the early, that they're going to get out of business. They probably didn't know the exact date that they might want to retire. They started making plans. They started talking to people. They started getting a guide to this path of getting out of their business, selling their business, their life journey, and sharing those rewards, maybe they're with their kids, maybe even they have grandkids, and not sharing it in a legal way with Uncle Sam. I'm a big believer that in giving, and I know Todd shares that with me, is we're big believers in giving. But we want to give it to who we want to give to, not have the Uncle Sam take what we've worked so hard for. And there's a lot of legal strategies to go about this. And some of the things that Todd shared in these segments, you might find are too good to be true. a little bit complex. And I'm going to share with you, I've been watching Todd for many, many years, and the amount of people that he helps is just tremendous. The savings are amazing. And, you know, not only does he talk about these things, and I'm not going to get into numbers, I've got some other questions. Todd actually practices these things in his own portfolio. I've watched him do some of these things for himself and his family. But Todd, you talked about in the last segment setting up a family corporation. And in the segment before that, we were setting up the family bank. Now, in that family corporation, the way the tax laws used to be, and I don't know if they still are, you can set up that family corporation, and it's just going to be for me and my family. Is that correct? I could do that if I want to?
Yes. The whole premise is to protect your family from things they don't know could happen in the future, and to keep your family estate and legacy alive. So creditors, divorces, lawsuits, and accidents don't take your family legacy away. They don't take your inheritance. They don't take your profits.
Now, if I set up this family corporation and I decide as the CEO of the corporation that I want to pay for everybody in the corporation, anybody that's in the corporation, I want to pay for their tuition. Am I allowed to do that?
Of course. It's your company. It's your structure. It's you write the rules. You control how it's used. You control the flexibility. You control the taxation. You control how money's taken and given.
So I could go and say for everybody in the company that, you know, we're going to pay their college tuition, and that's just part of their benefit package, just like anybody has a benefit package at any corporation.
We have set up corporate structures for families where their children are employees of their business, Ron, legitimate employees that are operating the business. And those employees of companies can qualify for tuition reimbursement. So yes, once you reach an income level over 250,000 adjusted gross, high income earners start getting phased out of being able to save in Roths and build tax-free income. They're unable to deduct, expenses for college. So in essence, some of these professionals were able to evaluate and help set up family structure and give benefits to their family members that otherwise go overlooked.
Long time ago, I was shared a thought from somebody, and he said, you know something, if you've got your own family corporation, you could buy life insurance for everybody in the corporation. Is that still the case?
Oh, you bet, Ron. The business is an entity that can operate independently, and when somebody dies, the business doesn't shut down. It simply continues to run, and the management just changes, obviously. So any and all above can happen.
Yeah. So think about those things. You can have the corporation can pay everybody's tuition. Now, some of the rules is it has to pay for everybody. So, you know, you want to make sure you're including people in the corporate. And we're talking about everything we're talking about here is all totally legal. We're not talking about anything we never talk about illegal strategies on Ron Siegel Radio. That's not our mission. Health insurance, life insurance, and these are all issues. If that's part of what the company's doing for everybody. You're getting under that. What'd you say? 81,000, Todd, is the magic number?
If you can keep a married filing jointly under 81,000 adjusted gross, capital gains taxes are 0%. Zero is zero. So there's some benefits to being able to control when you pay tax on something, so you can adjust how you take income and your gains.
So based on what you were saying in the last segment of paying the taxes when you want to, this year, if I only earned $60,000, I might want to take a $21,000 bonus from the trust in order to, just take my taxes the way I'm supposed to. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Then effectively, we just did that for somebody here last month who had $1.5 million of profit on 3 rentals they sold. We set up their family corporate structure. When they sold those 3 properties, they deferred, paid no tax at closing. Now they're going to start drawing $4,000 a month in income from their trust to live on. And because we're going to keep their adjusted gross income below $81,000, 100% of the money they draw out of their trust will be at 0% tax.
I don't think I can go anywhere from that. All right, that's about as good as we get, is it? I mean, Josh, did we hit it? I mean, go to 0% tax. I think that's a mic drop right there. If you want more information on this, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Be happy to put you in touch with Todd Halterman and see if these strategies make sense for you and your family. As always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.